Hey everybody, this is the tank roller by Unknown Maker. There's a lot of interesting things about this and a lot of disappointing things about this. And if you're thinking about getting one, please stick around. I'll show you what I need to show you and we'll learn together what is on the inside. And that'll also help me decide whether or not I want to buy another one. Please stick around. So I found this initially, the cheapest price was $30, and it has gone down in the time it took to get to me, which was about 20 days, down to as low as around $15. That tells me that they're likely aware that there's a problem. There's probably a lot of these being returned or rejected. So it works partially. I can at least demonstrate it for you. And I was really happy with it for just a minute or two until it broke. And I can make it work like this, but I can't do much more than that because one of the links is broken. So the question is this thing worth spending another $15 on? Because I'm really attracted to it. I really wasn't expecting, although I'm sure I watched the videos for it, I just was not expecting the haptic click. I thought it was just going to be some kind of roller maybe, but it does have a very pleasing click to it. And I'd like to be able to really spin this around in my hand, but I'm afraid it's not going to stay together. Well, it doesn't want to hold together long enough for me to get a good feel for what that would be like. I can't give you a good ripping demonstration of me whistling this down through my fingertips here. I'd like to be able to do that, but I can't. So I am attracted to this, but the main issue is that it's, at least this part, the part that broke, one of the tracks, is die cast, and it was a really bad design decision, I think. I can show you. We'll get in a little bit closer, and I'll show you what I think happened there. But like I said, I'm interested in getting another one of these, I think, and I'll just be very careful with it, and hopefully it'll arrive in better shape than this did, and hopefully it'll last. You know, but one of the things they boast about this is being 73 individual parts that you can take apart. That's one of the photos that I translated, and there might be that many pieces if you include all these track links. But that would require popping out a little metal spring clip on each one of these, and that's exactly, probably initially putting that little spring clamp on to those tracks is what caused one of my little posts to break off. So you wouldn't want to be disassembling this track ever, because it's die cast. And like I said, I can show you what I know about it so far is pretty much what you can see from here. It opens up about that far, and I can just see the insides a little bit. I've glanced in there a little bit, but I haven't taken a real good look. So we're going to take it apart, find out how it works, and see what it's made out of on the inside, and see if everything else is just as poorly designed. If it's going to hold up, if it's decent enough, like I said, I'll get another one. But yeah, please stick around. We're going to take it apart. Well, actually, we'll do some comparisons and weights quick, then we'll take it apart. So I don't really have a lot of even desk fidgets or anything that are quite this size. So I'm just going to bring out some old standards here. This is the Mackie CP3. And we've got the Metal Toys DZ Top B slider. And it's got a nice weight to it. Like I said, it really does feel nice in the hand. I'm sure if it wasn't broken, I'd be giving you quite a different opinion on it. Although I'm sure I would still be disappointed that it was that these were all die cast. But I suppose if they were machined, that would be pretty expensive. So let's get the scale. Let's get the measuring calipers out here first. Okay, I see that it is about 48 millimeters tall, 35 wide, and just about 20 thick. So I don't think there's any magnets in it. I think it's all mechanical. $122, roughly, 122 grams. All right, so, yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about it other than to take it apart. And then we'll discover together what's on the inside. Yeah, we're going to do that next. So I don't normally take stuff apart for the first time on camera. This is a 5/64 bit. I found that fit the best for these 4 screws. My feelings are, now I've seen some exploded view drawings, renderings of this thing on the websites that sell it, the stores that sell it. And I think what we'll end up doing is probably only taking out these 2 screws, then everything will come apart or slide apart out from the inside. Then the track just stays together. So let's go ahead, see what happens here. Well, at least it's not Loctited. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Is that grease? No, that's just looks like plating, a weird plating. That's plated. Whatever it is. Okay. Huh. I thought these were, oh, they are separate pieces, okay. Alright, so, take a look at that. I think this is die cast as well. Well, you can never tell when you see those renderings. Alright, I'm going to take off this little cap. There's a little bearing here and here. Will it come apart? It doesn't feel like it wants to. Don't tell me this is where they use the glue. Why would they use glue if they expect you to be able to take it apart and have fun with it? Okay, I think what we'll do is move to the other side. Oh, isn't that nice? It's still, whoop, there's a bearing. Okay, the bearings are loose. Let me just see if I can pop that out with a little tender love and care. Whoop, that one came out. Okay, those 2 are out. That one's not out, but I don't think it matters. Oh, look at that. Got more than I was asking for. Let's gently put that back in order. There, I got the bearing off. Okay, we got 4 tiny little bearings. Those are kind of cute looking. Now, I'm just gonna, I guess it was on its way out anyhow, right? So it's symmetrical, it's the same on either side. This one will be the same. Now hopefully I didn't screw myself out of figuring out the guts, because it still doesn't want to pop apart. I can see inside of it a little bit. I expected these 2 metal plates to pop right off. Let me use a little... No. No. Doesn't feel like it's budging. Alright. We're going to have to pause here until I figure this out. Okay, I'm back. And let me tell you, that was a struggle. I consulted 2 images that were on the websites that were selling them. So, yeah, this picture right here, nice exploded view. And this picture right here, which is just a layout of all the parts. And what it told me was that these plates sat down into the inner part. There's a little round piece here and here, that sit into a little cavity that's meant for that. But the problem is they were not coming apart. And I was starting to think, well, you know, this track is already broken. Maybe I might as well try to take it apart so I could get in there. And then I started thinking, well, that doesn't make sense, because they're advertising this as something that is 73 parts and is, you know, DIY, do it yourself, have fun with it, take it apart. Surely they wouldn't glue it. But guess what? They glued it. What I did was, since I had access to view the inside here, I at least was able to reach in there with, you know, I don't know how you do that. You would almost have to try to take the track off, I think. Mine was broken, so I had an access point, and I was able to get in here with a relatively sharp, small, flat tip screwdriver and get right on that seam and whack it with a hammer a couple times. And when I did, it shot off and hit the wall. And unfortunately, they're both glued on. See, I was kind of right about the, yeah, I'm right about that. Let me get it in focus for sure. So there's in the reflection there, you'll see that this tiny circle right here sits down into a little circle right here. And I could see that kind of sort of in the images, but there's 4 little locating pins on here, and those dropped down into those little holes, same on both sides, and there's glue all over it. So that was a really asshole-ish thing to do. Incidentally, this is some kind of cheap, well, there I could see this is die cast as well, because there's 2 pins, or core pins, that would have been used when this was molded, that would have ejector pins is what they're called, that would have pushed it out of the mold. And I noticed the plating, whatever the plating is, there's that VPD, I think it's the process. I might have to look that up, but they can coat just about anything with a shiny, pretty surface like this. And that's what it did, because it's all scratched off from where I was hitting it with a screwdriver. Maybe this one's not so bad. Maybe neither one of them are that bad. No, this one shows it a little bit, but you could see, it's just not a shame. So I may not get another one, even if it's for 15 bucks. But now that I've got it apart, question is, what's next? Will this slide apart? And it kind of wants to. I'm not sure how else you'd get this apart. I wonder if I rotate it while I'm doing it. Yeah, okay, there we go. Maybe that's the trick. Give it a little bit, put it off. I don't know, there we go. Oh, sweet. Everything's die cast. So here you have your, basically like a metal watch band. And I'll show you right now, if I can get it in focus here. There's little die cast, like they look like nail heads. Let me get it in focus. And they're so small that whenever this little clip, that little clip, metal clip, has to be snapped down on to that brittle, tiny little nail head. And I think probably when they were assembling this, the force of that caused that pin to maybe fracture, and maybe it held together long enough for them to package it up and everything, but when I took it out of the box and used it, that little head fell right off. In fact, I have it, but there's no point in keeping it. You can't glue it on and expect it to stay. And I'm not sure I could do anything else to repair that. But that's the main problem here. It's die cast. On the inside of this track, I might crack it open just so we can, let's do that. It's already broken, right? How hard is it to get apart? I really don't care if I break it at this point. Well, it's not easy. For a do-it-yourselfer, it's not easy. Here, I could show you this way. See, each one of these tracks has a couple of gear teeth on the back. There's some on this side and some on the opposite side, and that lines up with these gears, which would have been sitting in here like this. Now I have this partially wrong. That little gear, I believe that little gear belongs right. Yeah, there's a ball too. So that little gear is what this ball was rubbing against. And then that ball, there's a spring down in here. I can see the spring. There's the spring. And it's adjustable. So you could adjust the tension if you wanted to. There's a little Allen head socket screw sticking out there. So you could turn that in to make the spring a little bit tighter or looser. An adjustability feature that you can't get to because they glued the goddamn sides on. Yeah, so these are just gears, the side gears, the axle gears, and of course the inside of them line up with this. That's what keeps everything turning. And then this would be the ratchet gear. The spring would go in here like this. The ball would go on top of it, and then the ratchet ball would go in on top of that. That's another thing that would have made one of the main reasons they probably put this set screw in here like this was to make manufacturing easy, not because it was an adjustability feature. That's my first guess, because otherwise, if you think about it, if they just had a blind hole here and had to put a spring in a ball and then somehow hold that gear in place while they hold the other two gears in place and thread this through and everything, that would be a real hassle. Or on the other hand, if that screw's taken out of there and the guts are out, the spring and the ball aren't in there, then you can assemble all this stuff together nice and easy and not worry about anything. Then come back later, drop a ball down in there, drop a spring down in there, and then put the set screw back in. So that's probably for manufacturing purposes. But, well, there it is. It's all laid out. I think we know how it works and what the quality issues are. I don't think I'm going to waste another 15 bucks. There's an interesting rubber O-ring placed around the outer edge of both sides here. That must be to dampen it some. I don't think it was... It's not a friction surface or anything like that, I don't think. Let's put this back together slightly, if we can. Having it broken kind of helps, doesn't it? There we go. It does ride on there remarkably smooth. Maybe it is rubbing against the O-ring on the other side. Well, it's probably for dampening purposes. It probably rattled around too much or something. Yep, every gosh darn piece of this is die cast, except for those screws, the bearings, the spring, and that ball. Even these are die cast. So, I don't know, die casting, let me know your thoughts, but like, you know, the pill bug, when that came out, they said they were going to come out with a less expensive version, and I was all excited about it, and I figured, oh, it's going to be machined aluminum, that'll be great, I'll buy one, I could afford one of those, it'll be worth it. And then big disappointment whenever they came out and said, oh, yeah, here it is, it's completely die cast. Well, they didn't actually advertise that fact about it, but it's entirely die cast, and maybe except for a few parts, but they still want almost $80–90 for it, so I'm out on that. But die casting can be done good and properly. I mean, this could have all worked out had they made these, maybe scaled this whole thing up a little bit if they had to, but these tiny little nail head pivot points on there are just too weak and brittle. I mean, the die cast, it's most likely it's what are they? It's zinc alloy is usually the cheap pot metal that stuff's made out of, and it's just it's all soft and crumbly on the inside. It's not meant to take the force of things like snap pins being pushed on there. So there you go. You can make your own judgment. I think I made my decision. I'm not going to get another one. If it came apart, better, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get it apart without maybe possibly breaking another one. But if it came apart more easily, that would make it more attractive to me, and then I would be more interested in keeping it around. But at this point, I don't think so. Yeah, don't pay more than 15 bucks for this, and if you get one, please let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.